Super. So thank you for your time today, Andrew. You've already excelled in rowing, winning a gold medal at the Sydney Olympics, and since then you've worked for Goldman Sachs, and now apparently you're one of the youngest CEOs on a FTSE company. So tell me a little bit about the similarities between your sporting career and business challenges. Is there some similarity there?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much like anything really. You're in an area of expertise in terms of supporting or finance at Goldman Sachs or utilities and network marketing here, but it's all about common sense and hard work really. And I know that sounds a bit banal, but I'm a great believer that perseverance, good application, good common sense, good just applying yourself and thinking, having the ability to think around a problem, whether it's how to outwit some enormous American rowers who are really strong, or how to be nimble and faster than BT or Npower or British Gas. It's just a different application of the same skills.
Great, so a bit of common sense and hard work. So there's not that many shortcuts then.
There aren't any shortcuts.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about your company and how they're doing right now.
So we are Telecom Plus PLC. We're listed on the London Stock Exchange. We are a FTSE 250 company. We trade as the utility warehouse, and we are growing relatively fast. So we're growing at around 20% a year in terms of customer numbers, and that is aided by a unique product, but which is a multi-service offering, all your gas, electricity, landline, broadband and mobile on one bill. And the sort of secret weapon is our route to market, which is a network of 38,000 distributors up and down the country. We don't advertise, we rely on the oldest and best form of marketing, which is word of mouth referrals.
Thank you very much for that. And one of the main reasons we're here today is to talk about public speaking.
Yep.
So I know that my listeners and viewers will be interested to hear about your views on public speaking. Who have you seen speak, or have you seen anyone speak that you admire and that you think, yeah, they're really good? Other than yourself, of course, on video.
I don't look at myself with much glory, I can tell you that. I vividly remember going to a dinner, an Oxford sporting dinner thing after I'd left. And it was before he became the mayor of London, but Boris Johnson spoke, and I was completely knocked back by this guy. His skill, and that I don't have this at all, is the ability to read your audience, and he read the audience and totally ad-libbed, just got the tone exactly right. And yeah, we all know that he misses this, occasionally he misfires. But I went to another thing where he was speaking last summer, and he was just as good. The ability to think on your feet, to react to something happening during the speech, and make build it into your narrative, not getting frazzled and distracted by anything, and just being able to get a message across, to entertain. I think he's quite a high standard to aspire towards.
That's a high bar. But he's great to watch, isn't he?
Yeah.
It is entertaining.
It's entertaining, and he's got this amazing ability to cross borders. He is what he sounds, which is a sort of public school product, and yet he has the ability to appeal to the masses without, and he's unabashed, he's unashamedly who he is, and everyone else who sort of possibly tries to dumb down to hide their silver spoon, it quite often doesn't work actually. It's better just to be who you are and what you are, and people will see to the inner person as opposed to what you're trying to present.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you for that. I shall go up and go onto YouTube and have a look at some more of his presentations. That's brilliant.
But it's so off the wall, and Jeremy Clarkson is the same. He doesn't.
He doesn't care if he upsets anyone.
Exactly, he sticks two fingers at people and just says, "This is how I see it."
Yeah.
And he's he's very blokey and all the rest of it, but he has a hugely popular following. Mrs. Thatcher is in the press a lot at the moment, but she's somebody who just didn't give a damn. And then you look at less conviction politicians. So to me, someone like Tony Blair, it was all artificial hand movements and getting the tone right and the right makeup and all this kind of stuff. And you don't believe. And ultimately, what you want to be able to do is trust this person that's talking to you. Somebody who's a slick presenter but isn't trustworthy, you don't feel that you can engage with them, there's no point in that person speaking.
Absolutely.
And it's and a lot of the blunt instruments, and Winston Churchill was a pretty blunt instrument in many ways in his manner of speaking, but he was an incredible orator.
And you knew he meant it.
It was from the heart. And from
absolutely.
The heart is probably the most important thing about it.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah, totally agree with that. And I saw you speak at a huge conference to over 3,000 people a little while ago. Is that something that you do quite often?
Sort of 1 or 2 times a year to a large audience. I mean, it's when we're getting back to the beginning question, sport and work. One of the biggest things I miss about competitive sport is the butterflies, the nerves, the tingle before you're about to do something of oh my god, am I actually able to do this, and am I prepared? And the one place I've found that since giving up competitive sport was the first time going onto that stage in front of a couple of thousand people and just thinking, oh my god, I am totally out of my depth. Yeah. And it's been a real I have a really love-hate relationship with public speaking. I don't enjoy the anticipation of it. You enjoy the anticipation of the pain you're going to feel in the race, but you're going to have great feeling of satisfaction when you come off the stage if you've done a good job. And it's probably the single place in my career at Telecom Plus where I could literally draw an improvement graph that goes on up, and each year I know what I want to do next. So for example, this year was, I really wanted to get away from behind the lectern and I wanted to be out in the open, and I had 3 speeches to give on the Saturday, and the first one was behind the lectern, and the second one I just said, off I go, I'm out.
Brilliant.
And suddenly you're loosened up and it's freer, and you can engage with people much better. So it's really daunting, though, public speaking. And when I look back at my wedding, my best man, not my best, my own speech to say thank you to people, and in front of 200 people who I knew, everybody, brutally nervous and sort of ham-fisted and unable to speak. And my father-in-law was a very talented public speaker and just winged off something that was hilarious. And now 5 years on, what have you, I look back and think, God, I could do that with my feet up now, because it's all practice makes perfect.
It is very much practice.
And practice makes better, not practice makes perfect. But that's like rowing, it's like sport, like anything. If you don't do it, you've got to be very naturally gifted to be able to do it naturally. Otherwise, you have to just work it, and each time we get a bit better, a bit more confident.
Yeah, absolutely. So you haven't always been okay with public speaking. Did you ever used to get nervous about it? And you talked about your wedding where it kind of happened, but in business, has that ever happened to you where you kind of got a little bit nervous? I call it a case of the public speaking monkey sort of attacking you. But
obviously in front of these big crowds of these conferences, I've been immensely nervous, but admittedly, they're a pretty warm audience, and they're a fantastic audience. In front of staff, it's interesting. People speaking in front of strangers is sometimes considerably easier than speaking in front of friends and family and employees who know you and your foibles. But I can tell you when my first and worst experience of public speaking was, which was I was the president of the boat club at university, and we had a drinks party for them where they were meant to come down and meet us, and it was Beefeater gin at the time, and I had to make a little speech to thank them for spending several hundreds of thousands of pounds on us each year, and I was a 20-year-old student, and I just remember bright red, standing on a chair, not knowing what the heck I was doing, and you lose it, and you get yourself into a negative spin, and there's no way out. And I sort of vowed that I would conquer public speaking, and I don't know if I've conquered it, but I'm suddenly much more competent and relaxed about it now than I was then. I'm not going to set the world on fire, but I can get through it without...
Well, more practice, as you say, and you never know. You might be actively seeking those opportunities to go out there and speak.
I don't know.
And had you had that much gin before you spoke? Was that part of the problem?
It was. I was rowing, no gin at all. But no, I would have been much better with a bottle of gin inside me, I tell you.
In terms of training, have you had any formal public speaking training, or is it something you've literally just done yourself and worked out and seen other good people?
No, we've had some training. I say we, the guys that speak at the conference. So, and for the last 3 years, I've had a day or half a day in advance just to more about. Well, when you first have training, there was a whole sort of load of stuff that I just never thought about, and simple things like just watching yourself back on video and hearing how monotone you are and the lack of emphasis. And I've always, like I say, I use Tony Blair as my benchmark of what I don't want to be as a sort of fake public speaker. Or Evan Davis on the he does the Today program, and he did what's that panel of people who did Dragon's Den. He's the presenter of Dragon's Den.
Oh, okay.
And he sort of talks in this complete sort of ludicrous up and down intonation and all. To me, Robert Peston, the BBC news editor, him like wildly trying to sort of put on an artificial make your voice sound interesting mode, which sounds totally artificial and sort of undermines any trust that I have in them. But equally, you watch yourself and you're just flatlining, and you think, "Oh my God, I sound like an accountant." And you need to find the middle ground, and certainly the training and watching yourself on video enables you to do that. It's horrifying, but you learn, and little tricks of the trade. Your breathing, your I think one thing that always sticks in my mind is when I've got little children, when I read a story to them, the big bad wolf isn't the big bad wolf; he's the big bad wolf. And you've got to bring life and character to it all, and I am pretty monotone, and it's a real effort to get out into sort of nursery rhyme talk, but it's quite an important thing to do in my mind.
So you can practice it with your kids then.
Exactly.
Reading them.
Well, I do. They see a massive. They don't see Daddy for 3 months before the big conference, but until the last week, suddenly they've got inundated with stories. It's desperately practicing.
Fantastic. And who else in your management team gives presentations?
We most people do internally to their teams and things, and then 3 or 4 of them come and put themselves on stage at the conferences, and we're trying to, to me, it's a really fundamental part of personal development within a corporate sort of career, and some people hate it and will never want to do it, but it's one of the small hidden skills that people don't necessarily focus on, and yet everybody benefits from being able to public speak. Whether it's there are always scenarios in life, almost every life, where you will be able to stand up in front of a small crowd or even just a group of people and not feel like you just want to eat your hand off. It's something that is beneficial, I think. And I think that very, very few people give you that kind of, very few employers give you that kind of exposure. And in our business particularly, where it's all people based, you've got to be willing to get out. So we try and actively get the managers and the directors to go out and meet our distributors and talk to them in groups. So if we have a team of 20 distributors here for a day, we'll definitely get managers to go and present their area to them. Not so much because the distributors want to learn, but I think they are interested. But equally to give our managers exposure to something, you put them out of their comfort zone, and then they learn, and actually they feel much better after it.
Brilliant, that sounds excellent. So it's something that's across the organisation, and I think you're right that every level of individual can benefit from public speaking or presenting, and sometimes it's not even called that, but even.
Yeah, but you could take it back to school. At the earlier stage, you have to learn to say Humpty Dumpty in front of your school class, and if so many people, and myself included, are naturally averse to putting themselves out there and speaking in public, and there are lots of environments where one doesn't need to put oneself out there, but I defy anybody really to if they're not a natural public speaker, to not have a bad memory of a moment when they had to stand up in front of more than one person and say something. And nobody seems to train it naturally. And I in our call centres here, do people get exposure to public speaking? Not really. Would it be great if I would love one of our call centre guys to say, actually, I'd like to talk to the distributors. If 20 of them came in and just talk, have a chat with them. And you see the extroverts come out when we do staff videos and stuff. They all pop out, but it's the quieter people that you want to to give the opportunity to. They don't have to, but if they wanted the opportunity to.
Yeah, it'd be nice to feel, one of my agendas is to help everyone to speak with confidence and clarity, and that doesn't mean they have to be extrovert and loud and scary about it, but just to feel comfortable expressing a viewpoint in a meeting, for example.
Yeah, so. It's just confidence, and it builds your self-confidence in any arena. It means that you think you I don't know, when somebody shouts at you on this pavement or something, you feel, well, actually I can answer you back, or I don't know, but it's a, for some reason in particular, I think it's probably a very British thing, having recently been in America where everybody wants to stand up on their soapbox and speak out. In Britain we are quite introverted, we don't necessarily want to speak out, and I'm not necessarily saying that it's a good thing to speak out, but it's a good thing to not be afraid of speaking out.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's brilliant. Well, very well said. Totally agree with you. And just to finish off, I was going to ask you, if you were given 3 minutes to address the nation and say anything you want, what would your message be? What would it be that you wanted to share?
And as I said when you asked me earlier on, what is it what are the sort of things the values that I adopt in pursuing my own life, which are sort of commitment, hard work, and just adherence to things and see them through.
So taking personal responsibility is important to you?
Absolutely, taking personal responsibility. There's no one else going to live your life. You've got to live your own life, and you've got to dictate where it's going to go. And I've seen plenty of people in my life who have had a privileged upbringing and squandered it, and plenty of people who've had a less privileged upbringing and made the most of it, and the stories are all there. Having personal confidence and to get up and go to chase that down and pursue it and make it happen.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time today. Much appreciated.
Not at all.